This city was erased from the earth, not by fire, but by fear. Its name was Carthage. For centuries, Carthage was a titan of the ancient world. It was rich, a hub of commerce that commanded the Mediterranean. It was advanced, with a navy that ruled the waves and engineering that rivaled the greatest empires. It was, for a time, unstoppable. Carthage controlled trade routes that stretched from the shores of Africa to the coasts of Spain. The sea was its domain, and its power was so immense that even Rome, its eternal rival, watched with a mixture of envy and dread. But the source of Carthage's greatest power, its unwavering self-assurance, was also tied to its darkest, most chilling secret, a secret that lay buried just outside the city walls. Beyond the bustling markets and grand temples, there was a sacred ground known as the Tophet. This wasn't a place of celebration, but one of somber, silent ritual. Archaeologists have unearthed thousands of urns, each one carefully buried, each one sealed with a stone marker. The inscriptions are brief, almost formulaic. To Baal-Hamon, my lord, and to Tanit, the face of Baal. Inside these urns were the cremated remains of infants and young children. This was not a scene of isolated tragedy or chaotic violence. The sheer number of urns, the methodical way they were arranged in layers over centuries, points to something else entirely. It was a routine, a deeply ingrained part of their society's spiritual life. The fires at the Tophet were said to burn continuously, because the city's needs were continuous. Carthage was a city under constant pressure, fighting for its existence against formidable foes, and so, the people turned to their gods for aid. They prayed for victory in battle, for bountiful harvests, for protection from plague and invasion. They prayed for their very survival. The great god Baal-Hamon promised prosperity and dominion. His consort, Tanit, was the celestial queen who watched over them. But according to their Roman and Greek accusers, this divine protection came at a terrible price. The god, often referred to as Moloch, a name synonymous with dread, enforced the cost of that divine favor. It was a system of exchange, where the most precious thing a family had was given to the gods to secure the future of the collective. Today, historians and archaeologists are still locked in a fierce debate. Was this truly child sacrifice, on a massive scale, as Carthage's enemies claimed? Or was the Tophet simply a special cemetery for infants and children who died of natural causes, a way to place them under the direct protection of the gods? The Romans, who ultimately destroyed Carthage, had every reason to paint their rivals as monstrous. Yet, the evidence is unsettling. The ashes remain. The stone inscriptions, with their vows and dedications, remain. And the chilling pattern of deposition over hundreds of years remains. Whatever the precise truth, we are looking at a system of belief taken to its absolute limit. This wasn't born of simple madness. It was a logic, a worldview where the individual was secondary to the survival of the city-state itself. In the end, Rome's victory was total. The Third Punic War concluded with the complete and utter annihilation of Carthage. The Romans tore the city down, stone by stone. They set it ablaze, burning it for days until nothing but rubble and ash was left. Legend says they even salted the earth to ensure that nothing would ever grow there again. They sought to wipe Carthage not just from the map, but from memory. But Rome didn't destroy Carthage because they were offended by its gods or its rituals. They destroyed Carthage because it was a rival that stood in the way of their own ambition. The accusations of sacrifice were a powerful justification, a way to dehumanize their enemy. The true horror wasn't what the gods demanded, but what people were willing to do, what they were capable of believing, in the name of power, security, and survival. Here is the final, chilling truth of Carthage's story. The city did not fall because of Baal's demands or Moloch's hunger. It didn't collapse because its gods abandoned it. It fell because it was outmaneuvered and overpowered by a more ruthless and organized military machine. But its legacy is haunted by something deeper, the normalization of extreme sacrifice. Once the unthinkable becomes routine, once the ultimate price becomes just another cost of doing business, a society loses its moral compass. When survival is the only virtue, no sacrifice is ever enough. The demands only grow. The fire always needs more fuel, until the system itself consumes the very people it was meant to protect. Today, we like to think we are far removed from such ancient horrors. We don't build Tophets of stone and fire. Instead, we build complex systems, economic, corporate, and social, that often reward immense personal sacrifice. We praise the hustle culture that demands sacrificing family time, health, and well-being for career advancement. We call it ambition. We call it dedication. We call it success. The names are different. The gods are gone. But the underlying logic, the idea that great rewards, require devastating sacrifices. Feels unnervingly familiar. This series isn't just about ancient gods or forgotten cities. It's about the choices we make, both as individuals and as a society. It's about the lines we are willing to cross in the name of a greater good. Because the fire, that insatiable demand for more, never really disappears. It only waits, changing its form for a new era. What do you think is the modern version of sacrifice? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.